This is Lemon, and he has been challenger with HECARIM for 7 years in a row. That's right, literally since Season 7 and including Split 1 this year. Gwen is invading us, doesn't matter, runes on your screen now. We are going Phase Rush, and the reason why I'm covering him again, but really the first time in an obvious way on this channel, mostly I've covered him on the main channel, is because he stuck to the Divine Sandra build path so long after it was terrible. He stuck to the Chem Tank build so long after it was terrible, but it didn't matter. He did the most damage in his games, he had the highest KP, he was running around with high tempo jungling, like 3 camps into ganking. He's always played HECARIM in a very conservative yet aggressive way, and I always found that quite interesting. Now he is on the Stride Breaker path with Black Cleaver, not Shojin, that's right, not even going Shojin, and that's because he plays with a certain snowball capacity. He has no intent to actually play the late game whatsoever. He just wants to play HECARIM in a way that allows him to just roll over everybody, and as a main focus as we look at the bottom lane, that was a 225 cross from the blue side. And, you know, we've got the Caitlyn Lux here, which means they're pushing in. So, normally I do cover weird games from him, like games where he does, you know, a red side into a gank in the mid lane, a blue side into a gank in the mid lane, things like this. Or, you know, the video I covered last year, literally a year ago on the main channel, where he had 62 CS to an enemy counter jungler's 15 through really insane counter jungling. So when I say, you know, he likes to snowball, I really do mean that, but at the same time, it's a HECARIM, right? Sometimes you got to full clear, play around your ultimate, be more conservative. But with these builds that are more conservative in terms of damage output, but more focused on the resistances, the HP, the ability to stick it out in long fights, always using Conqueror, how do we do this? How do we be challenger for 7 years in a row? So let's have a look to see what he does in this particular game. A normal game. No, this is a ranked game, but I mean, like, there's no shenanigans early, there's no high tempo gank, right? It's a 100% ranked game. He's going for challenger yet again, obviously. We see the Lee Sin doing a very slow full clear here. Well, very slow by the metrics of the modern jungle, but, you know, that's fine. And again, we look at this and we say, is this a lane we can gank? Can we kill the Caitlyn and the Lux before Lee Sin shows up and rotates? And obviously it is a Sivir Senna, so is there any kill threat there? No, there's no kill threat, so I'm going to go back to base and take this top scuttle. This is where he really does a good job. Like, he's always been a super mind gamer in terms of counter jungling and understanding of where the enemy jungler is, great tracking, everything like this. So we ping the Lee Sin pings him. We know that people are loving starting and Raptors still. So here you see the Akali's low, we'll just Astro Sprint in, free kill there, a little auto attack to make sure we get that first blood. The Lee Sin is now in a bit of a compromised position because we have, obviously, the Ghost reset keeping us going there, the ability to steal his first Raptor camp. Now, the Lee Sin decides to go for this. And here's the thing, he understands the damage output and the tankiness of HECARIM better than anyone I've ever seen play the champion. He knows how to go in and out and in and out. He really has the patience and the ability to do these things super fast. However, if you want help implementing this information into your own game, I have a free jungle improvement resource as well as a dedicated program where we have jungle video courses, jungle coaching VOD libraries, weekly free video content seen nowhere else, as well as Q&As and patch note rundowns, as well as a private jungle Discord. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's converting junglers to gold, to emerald, to diamond, to master plus. If you want to climb faster than anyone you know, jungle div every game you play, click the link below or head to virkayu.gg. One of the big downsides to his game, which is why I did also want to cover this to a certain degree, is the following. If you look at his data and you look at the way he plays, it says over-aggressive sometimes, because he really wants to force this, right? As I said, forces a snowball, but he never ever lets himself get carried away in terms of, oh, look, the game's over, I can't play the game anymore. Gwen has rotated down because of this invade. We all know this, right? So jungle fundamentals will state, don't go for that Raptor invade. The gank was great, the back was great, everything was great, right? All good, agreed. But the problem is, now you've died on an invade, Akali is 1v1, you've undone your gank, Gwen snacks a kill as well. So convention would dictate, hey, okay, my bad, we all do it, right? My bad, I tried an aggressive play in the Lee Sin, no smite, but I tried. Then you would come out of base, now you go to Grump, Wolves, Raptors, Krugs, you sequence down, and you go ahead and gank the bottom lane. The question is, though, can we get kills on the Caitlyn? Here, sums are all up, Ghosts up, Flashes up, and where might the Lee Sin go? The Lee Sin knows you're most likely going to try and sequence down, and of course, he has his Krugs available to him to snack those up, right? He has the Raptors taken away, he can go and take the Krugs, reset, and now come to the bottom side. So Lemon knows, hey, let me try and gank this first, force some sums, get them before Lee Sin does, nothing to do, fine, I'll fall back to my quadrant, do the Krugs, do the Raptors. And again, I don't know if I need to keep stressing this, but the guy still does most damage, second most damage in most games he plays. He's very hands-on, he likes to fight a lot, but his KDAs are good. Like, he will die early, 1, 2, 3, 4 deaths maybe, right? But as long as he gets more back in return, and his sequencing is intelligent, and he cuts off the enemy jungler as he always does, that's when you see these advantages. Now, a lot of people have said, look, his path thing is weird. It doesn't make sense for a challenger jungler to path in such ways. Well, then, that's why I'm here to try and break these things down, and you've had a good explanation. Normally we would sequence again. He says, right, Lee Sin's gonna be on the Krugs because he lived from my invade, so I'm gonna get ahead of him. Cool. The fallback then is I can reverse my sequencing to the other direction, all right? Lee Sin, on the other hand, is now down here. We have the roaming Lux. So these things, in his mind, in the way he plays, have a complete logic to them. And as long as you can see what that logic is, you can apply these principles to your own game. But when someone's 7 times challenger, no matter the meta or the season on HECARIM Jungle, and look, I know you're all used to HECARIM dominating everything for 3 damn years, but before that, he was on and off, man. He was on and off. Once or twice, he was rank 1. Someone got rank 1 with him. I think Yankos was one of them in like April 2019. I made a video on it on the main channel. But outside of that, he was terrible, right? Like, he went through these periods of being really useless, and yet, here he was, being challenger in career, top 10 career as well, not just like fringe. Like, he'd reached top 10 career. When Agurin was getting his rank 1 this year career, guess who was right there, right behind him? And here we go. So, we've reversed our sequence a little bit. We're shadowing the vision gap here, obviously, that's nice. We know that Lee Sin, obviously, through the vision tracking and the movement of everyone, should be down on the bottom side. We have immediately now the respawn of the Raptors because we died on it, so we can go ahead and take this. The Lee Sin, because he didn't swap his sequencing, because he focused on the vision and the scuttle crabs, is still on this bottom side. You see him pinging off the HECARIM saying, look, there's a possibility he did that. So, straight off the bat, in the early game, as Gwen pushes us out, you can't always bank on that. As I tell you guys, this is the right play. He reverses sequence to set up an invade on the second red spawn because Lee Sin, based upon the timings of that first rotation, will only be finishing up now. Alright? That's a huge advantage. So he reverses sequence, doesn't get anything unfortunately, can go for this. The top laner sags off and stops us from actually getting the red, but that doesn't mean it's a bad play. That's a good play that you can get away with, but sometimes you will get pushed away. So while he has high damage, while he focuses on fighting and invading and doing slightly higher risk things, he also is supremely good at tracking and counter jungling. And obviously in Challenger career, Grandmaster career, Master 2 career, you're going to see collapses and people, wake up and say, no, that's my jungler's red. But it is what it is. And obviously here we get pushed off, does his blue. And again, because the sequencing was reversed, we have time before these wolves and grubs spawn. So how can I fulfill that time on the map? I don't need to swap and give up on the side. I can go down and deal with these things, right? Like, you got pushed off with the red. I go to my blue. Because I sequenced upside, I guess, I just go and catch his quadrant, maybe gank bottom dragon? No. We stick it around. We say, what can I do while Lee Sin's not here? So on bot lane, let's go ahead and do our blue, do the Herald, snack that baby up for free. We suspect Lee Sin should be topside at this particular stage. Maybe we can again, gank ahead of him. Hey, Gwen, you're out of position. I have Ghost, IV, don't really need the Ghost at this particular stage, but we'll just use our ult to make sure we get the kill to save the Malphite from his own rocky self. Lee Sin, in the meantime, is shadowing up to the top side, but what do you notice? 13 CS lead, objective lead, tempo lead. Lee Sin's following him around. Lux is up here. Now, the downside is obviously our Grump and Wolves are available, and so the Lux decides to go deep here to see if she can get onto the Malphite. Malphite, run! She can't see him. That's actually really close. But we have to respect this, right? We have to respect that this Grump is available, these Wolves are available, Lee Sin's here with Lux. So he doesn't at all waste a second coin flipping this Grump. He says, nope, I'm out. I'm leaving. Like, it's gone. Why waste a second on it? Which is a bit weird because you think, well, he wastes seconds on this. Why? Because the payoff on this can be massive. The downside of this, also massive. The payoff is you get what you can get anyway. I mean, those Grumps and Wolves will be there for you if you don't take them or they'll respawn. Whereas a nice, good invade can net you a W straight off the bat. Like, if you win that Raptor fight, you take the Raptors, kill Lee Sin, take his Krugs, guy's doomed. And what we're also good at here is real objective control, but this vision here, I covered this in a coaching session literally the other day. We do have no ults here. We can just chase people down. Lee Sin goes backline. We turn to Peel, make sure he's killed. Then we chase down the Lux. Now, obviously, she doesn't have flash available. Lee Sin will block and kick, double kick, Q into the center. Will he take it? No, he doesn't. Now the Caitlyn's out of position, so we'll take the objective. So being first for objectives is something that I learned from him many years ago when I covered this account for the first time. Back when I was still making, just in the beginning days of making content, you know, I was already watching this guy in replays in Season 7, Season 8. And effectively, I talk a lot about kill conversion ratios. We have a fight here. Let's see. We don't have smite because we just took that dragon. So we're going to make sure we push this out and get that blue. You see the zoning with the body? All of these things are so great mechanically, but they're nothing to do with HECARIM. Anyone can learn this, right? Anyone can learn this pressure. Like Lee Sin now knows he might be on his grump and he's low, so he pulls it down to avoid the Qs, right? And says, I'm going to take this under your face, in your face. And Senna's here with the bottom lane. We take the grump, we wait for the wave to crash. Good, filling dead time, man. Now TB's committed. We get the plates, we get the gold. Hey, we force a TB from Akali, which means Orianna gets free real estate over here. Wow. So let's just unpack everything that I just said while we probably go back and do our red and Krugs, right? So out of base, we give this up. We say, right, if he's taking my grump and my wolves, I can do my raptors on my way to quickly snack the dragon up, right? Luck shows, Lee Sin collapses, which means he didn't take my stuff as Gwen kills Malphite. That means I can basically just force a fight here, win this, great peel, always good at peeling, uses his body and his mechanics to steal the stuff. Caitlyn's out of position, ults over the wall. Caitlyn does a decent flash, but we're going to show up here, and one more Q should do it. There you go, full stacks, baby. Rotational ganks here, huge as well. Massive, right? Massive. So, after the dragon, and forcing this guy, or forcing this out and taking the dragon, we invade the blue. I like this play. Uses his body, zones a little bit, forces a guy out that's just as much as, is worth just as much as a kill, actually, a lot of the time. Takes the grump, waits for the wave to crash. Same thing here. Oh, my camps haven't spawned yet because, you know, I tried an invade, didn't work. I guess I'll just wait 5 seconds and do the herald and, you know, gank top lane. He fills his dead time between camps being up, the dead time between where the jungler is and where they're going to be, better than most junglers you'll ever see. Really, like, good stuff. You saw that, right? If he's doing this, I get a dragon. Cool. If he isn't, I just kill him and then I do the dragon. And he keeps doing that. And also, ganking, reactive ganking, there's, you know, you see the Caitlyn, he's watching the F keys, the maps. We don't do the red here at this particular stage because he is going back to base. This is not something that we typically teach. Well, we do teach this, you know, like don't do a buff if you're going back to base. But at the same time, your quadrant on the bottom side is asymmetrically respawning. You just took Krugs as Raptors are respawning, so now you've got Raptors red by themselves with no Krugs. But his focus is also on, you know, is Lee Sin topside? Is Gwen still around? Am I being counter-jungled? Do I need to cut off the Lee Sin from getting anything? Yes, I've got my Stride Breaker, my Ionian Boots. I said Gore Drinker and Berserkers. What replay was I watching before this? Where that's just in my subconscious. We have a TP from the Gwen here. So now we can fall back down to our walls. We have a decent sequence. Obviously worried about wards being pinged off by the Lee Sin. Would expect nothing less. And now things calm down a little bit. So 3-1-1, 92 CS to 76, 1 Dragon, 1 Herald, with unconventional pathing. Without being obsessed over quadrant clears and finishing off camps, right? Now you enter this mid-game phase. Akali is out of the picture. He sees a shove from the Orianna. He decides to go into the jungle just to see what the Lee Sin's doing, because at this point, again, we don't know exactly what he's doing. There we see him. So now we know, okay, look, I'm level 9. He's level 7. He has no camps available, very obviously. I see this occurring. I have no camps on the top side, no Herald. Might as well see if I can rotate. I'll go ahead and do my Raptors, and I'll shadow the scenario. And if I need to rotate, I'm HECARIM and I can do it. My mid lane's shoved up. Let me shadow that just in case she needs my help. He does this kind of stuff all the time here. Presses E, off we go. We're going to dive in and ult. Make sure we fear that Akali. She is dead. The thing didn't show up, but she did die. Kick, smite. We do have Ghost available if necessary, but we don't need it because the E was coming off cooldown. So that's where you do lose a bit with the Shojin, but that's cool. And now you're thinking, right, kill conversion ratio, right? Push and hit the plates. Yes, conventionally we would say that. But also we have the Herald spawning shortly. We have Gwen half HP. With the Stride Breaker, I can probably do some damage up here, so let's go. Strong item, don't scan. Obviously, ooh. A little unlucky for the rock. Just a little bit unlucky. Just. So, now obviously we've cleared the ward. We don't exactly know where Lee Sin's going. Like, we don't know he's going to the bottom side. We have 1500 in pocket. A dragon is spawning. You know, we probably think, okay, look, if Lee Sin has nothing on the top side, and the only thing on the map is a Herald, why do I want to be here, right? Do I want to wait for this? Do I want to do it? Or should I go spend my money, get a Warhammer, and go to the bottom side in case Lee Sin, as we see, shows up here? Obviously he does, so cool. If he doesn't, get my camps, get Scuttle, get Dragon, get to rotate bottom lane, get to counter jungle lane. If Lee Sin isn't here, he gets everything. So this is typically how he thinks about the game, and it's also why I made that Korean secret video last week on the main channel. It's not about him, but it's a style that's present in all Korean junglers. They think very much about, where's the enemy jungler going to go next, based upon where he just was, and how can I prevent him from accomplishing what he wants, while also getting what I want. And sometimes I'll give up one thing I want, just to make sure he gets nothing that he wants. It's really like this Dota level denial, except we don't do it with CS, we just do it with camps and things like this. Now we get Orianna ahead here through all of this. He's huge. Not a huge fan of this downtime, waffling a little bit. I feel like with Dead Lee Sin we could go into the jungle, but he is just kind of shadowing the Orianna Akali, because there's no rush anymore, right? Like, there's no rush. We have such a big gold lead, 2,500. We have control of the Hextech Dragon. We have a red buff from killing Lee Sin, so why take ours, right? Like, we have a red buff now. When this dies, I'll go ahead and snack my own. Lee Sin is now desperate. You can see this. The Lee Sin's just like, well, I need to shop. And he's like, well, I'm hugely fed. You can't kill me because I've got a good item. I have the Stride Breaker. This is why he builds like this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. He's thriving on his W. He's thriving on phase rush in and out. He's thriving on cooldown. He plays around his cooldowns extremely well without the Shojin. Dodges everything with the quick movement speed that he has. Quick feet, quick feet. All the time, this is how he plays. That's why Chemtank was so popular with him for so long. That's why Divine Sundra as well. In and out, heal, sustain, in and out, heal, sustain, dodge, go back in. All the time, quick like this. No hesitation. He knows what's happening mechanically because he never has to think when it comes to HECARIM. The particles on this W are much nicer than they used to be. I will say that, although I don't know why this is up for 5 seconds. They buffed this before people had a chance to figure out the build. This is a great build. If you know what you're doing, you can still do Stridebreaker Shojin as well. You don't have to go Black Cleaver. He just likes these carvalicious, long sustained fights. He doesn't care about having Shojin rotational spells. Obviously, it's great he has used it. Like, this is not, to say he hasn't. He has used it a lot as well with Divine Sundra and other things. But really, when he finds a build he likes that allows him to play exactly like this to get to a 50-minute dragon and just rinse everybody, he likes that build. He sticks with it. Again, like, when I say Chemtank, I mean like a year afterwards, he was still playing with it. Like, no joke. Literally. Very funny. And no one else could play with it whatsoever, but he could. Tells you a lot about champion knowledge. But also, it's one of those things that, basically, if you imagine like the highs of meta builds, in terms of their power and their peak and what they allow you to do damage-wise, and then you think about their lows if you don't execute properly, he just cuts that out and says, instead of risking everything for either 1,000 gold or 0, why didn't I just guarantee myself 500 or 450 no matter what every single time? And while that's counterintuitive to his invade sometimes, as I said, he only does that early to try to get these snowball leads. Again, that's the only death he's had, and now he's 613. He might have won later on, in a mid-game fight or a misplay. Like, this always happens, obviously. You're not perfect, no one is. But for the builds, it's basically like, what is old reliable? And again, 3-level lead. 3-level lead. Enemy jungler just doesn't know what to do. Because he can't. Because HECARIM can be there at any point. Champion, do be strong, powerful, potent, vicious, and always arcade skin. Always arcade skin. The classic. See, look at this. We obviously have phase rush. We have our ultimate up if we need it. But he tries to save things, Wait for E to be up again. Goes back in. There you go. Cool. Haste on this is super good. Before even Shojin was buffed and brought back in the game, this was a solid build path. So, see, now we can think about using our ult here. Through the river with the E into the R. Over the wall into the Caitlyn. Smite so slow, so it doesn't really do much damage to her. So that is a downside here. But of course, we can go back in. 9 seconds on the E. We will have our W available. Q is available as always. Stacks have been lost, unfortunately. But that's fine. Take it, Lee Sin, I dare you. Tried to really go for the Caitlyn there, didn't he? E is used for probing. Oh. That was close. That was close. Yeah. 713. Stridebreaker damage 1087. Again, match history is linked in the description. Health carved 279. Raptors have been taken. Krugs just spawned. 2 dragons. Got ourselves the first herald. Obviously, Gwen took the second one. We didn't really cover it because we're always talking about his style, but you can see how this is a reliable style, right? What would suffer greatly with this style if it was a Genki meta? Like Season 9 or beginning of Season 13, where he was also a challenger. Nothing, because he is ganking enough. He's present enough. He's looking for things enough. What would be bad about this in a farming meta? Literally nothing. He's farming, he's sequencing, he's denying, he's counter jungling, he's up 40 CS. Like, oh no, you didn't. You didn't. Oh, a little short on the ult. But again, we're tanky. Lee Sin is going to go in here. Bounty is claimed by the Gwen on the top side. Oof, that's one death. So there you go. A little bit of a mechanical and timing misstep. Does happen to the best of us, but that's okay. Bounty taken here from the Gwen. They're going to greed for this Baron, I think, because I feel like they're behind in their brains, but they're not really. Like, they've got all the outers now. Problem is they haven't spent. What's their gold amounts? 1,000, 1,500. Twice. 1,300. Like, that's so much gold. They have basically a free 5 to 6k deficit for no particular reason. So why would you do this? And now Orianna just shows up. Like, it's such a greedy Baron. And yeah, I don't want a results based on saying, look, they're getting some kills. That's bullshit. You know, you've got no gold reset here from the previous advantage, and you just absolutely throw. And I put a lot of this down to jungle pressure, because when your jungler's feeling desperate, you saw the Lee Sin be the pilot of that decision. They think, quick, we need to go to this 21-minute Baron, but guys, you're equal in gold from this play. Go reset. Do it again, right? You just equalized the game, and they throw it on a Baron. Junglers, I put it on you to not make those decisions, because, again, you control it, right? If you say, no, gold reset, I'm going to do Raptors, Krugs, and reset, and we're going Dragon, try and win that fight with a gold spend, mostly they will listen to you. And because of this, HECARIM shows up and says, thank you so much for the Baron. Now, obviously, we go to the Hex Drinker because of the Lux, because of the Akali, because of the Gwen. We're not worried whatsoever about the Lee Sin. We could clear that ward if we wanted to, but we do see here a Dragon spawn, so we don't waste too much time. Keeping our stacks up going, there we go. They will... Let's have a look to see what happens. Oh, no. Into the pit we go. Beautiful steal. Not what you want. Ult over the wall. Flees and fears the Lee Sin. Q stacking is working very, very nicely. W doing huge work. Charge into the Caitlyn to kill her. Use your spacing. Use your spacing. Yeah, close. Kind of hoping the Xayah route would be enough for us to get out, but... Yeah. See, HECARIM is straightforward, right? You got Q spam. You got your W for your tankiness, let's just call it. You got your E for your damage and your gap close and your CC and your knockbacks. And you've got your R fear for the gargantuan teamfight stuff. Watch him and how he plays and how he orders these abilities in terms of just the ER and things like this. It's not always... You see too much bad HECARIMs kind of ER into lunges, and they never really use them in conjunction with each other. Like, you can R first and then E afterwards, right? You don't have to always E into the R. And if you're always needing to E into the R, I'd say your attack angles are probably way off. And if you're building lethality, right, you're severely compromised. Because now, you know, you got, what, 20.29 seconds on this one. We got your 69 seconds on this one here as well. Like, if you're not maximizing this ability right here for damage, a max distance, basically, you can see that 160 to 321 with this particular damage, and you're building lethality, you're not going to have the same level of effectiveness, even if this does give you that bonus armor, that bonus magic resist, that gives you that heals. That's all great, right? But it's not enough when you're building full lethality. So if you miss your damage spells as a HECARIM, and you get CC'd, and you don't use your unstoppable on that, or undisplaceable thing on the R, you're going to get blown up. So that's why he likes to build like this. It allows him to fight like it. Just get in the pit, 1v4, sustain up with W, hits his spells, moves around with phase rush in and out. Really, really good stuff. And now we're level 14. Hex Drink is completed. Steric's Gauge is a great item as well. And HECARIM, when you want to do these kinds of things, look at this here. We just press the W, got the bonus resistances. We're at 129, 132. Let's see what happens when it drops off. 104, 107. So... huge when you're talking about hybrid damage dealers in Akali, Katarina. Hybrid damage comes like this one here, warded over the wall. We're just looking, right? We're just looking. Pressing E, shadowing, perfect. Obviously, you saw the Gwen splitting there. Pushed up nicely. Okay, nothing to do. I can go back and hold. No stress. Uses the E for map mobility. Something that we talked about with the rank 1 Vi last year, right? They use the Q on a 2-second cooldown just to get around the map very, very quickly. And here we go again. He is primed. That's when we use the ult to get into the fleet. Then we knock her back towards the Orianna. She goes over the wall. Orianna creates space. That do be a dead Gwen. Just so smooth. You know? And I don't like HECARIM. I hate HECARIM as a champion. I think he gets away with way too much. Like, as a general design concept. I don't know why he can't be bad for a little bit before they buff him. But I'm objective when it comes to good junglers and how they play the champions. Like, I don't care what you play. If you play well, I want to look at your games. I want to study your games. I want to present your games to other people. Because it's not just about the champion. It's also about your decisions. Like, you could make these decisions with other farming style champions, other rotational champions, right? Like, you could play like this with Kayn if you wanted to. Very, very easily. And you could go more conservative Rost build and play like this as well. In fact, I know Korean Kayn savants who do. So, main thing is the map mobility here. Like, get around the map quickly. Use your E here to move around. You clear the ward here. See if he does it again. Yes, he does. That's it. Always present. That's why his KP so high. Because he's not too obsessed with farming and sequencing, but he does it in such a subtle way. He's up 70 CS. Gwen sags off. So now we're like, okay, well, maybe I can go ahead and take a grub. Gwen might rotate into us here for this grub, but we're level 15. She's level 4, and we have a Hex Drinker. Can we even fight her at this point? If you don't know, and you think people might be collapsing, just run away. Don't have to fight it. Pretty damn logical most of the time. Could do a Death Dance in this game, maybe. Just for some added armor here. Oh, there's a Malphite. There's a charge into the Lux. Doesn't even care. Just pushes the Caitlyn out of the back line here. Unstoppable passive trap. Whole team is here with us. Gets shielded. We obviously have the W up. 5 seconds. Charges into the back line there. Q, not quite enough. And if you're wanting to play lethality HECARIM, then that in fact would be a better fight for you, because you would have just killed an ADC. You also would have died a little bit quicker. A Gold Drinker needs to die. That item is an abomination in this game. There's no reason you should ever get 1100 healing from an item with damage at the same time. Stupid. Glad it's being killed. Again, a little too deep from Lemon in the back line, but what do you learn from these fights? Every time he does them, his team is cleaning up and pushing the map. This does happen in your games. So in games where you don't have the engage, or don't have the team really pressing the button, I was going to say putting the button, but pressing the button to go in and push the game to end, be the button. Just do it. Go in, sustain as long as you can, suction them. I call it the suction effect many years ago, 2017, in a Kayn video, where you go in, you force a whole team to blow cooldowns and focus on you, and then the enemy team, standing around, your team, clean up. It still works, it does happen. We have gone to the top side here to chase the Akali a little bit. With the Dragon up, Orianna is able to actually snack that away, which is a little bit tragic because that is a soul point, which is why I love his objective control overall. And also another thing that I like to focus on here is you don't always need to go to the Dragons. Like if your team's got it, there's no Lee Sin or whatever, then feel free to let your team do it. And you can do something else. Like you're watching this, he's farming. He's like, I can't help you. Got mid in him down, Baron's available. Like you can rotate if you think it's a fight you can win, but you can also just trust your team or not trust your team. Like your team could die here, your team could win here, it doesn't matter. He's basically said, look, I'm cutting you guys out of the decision process. It's gonna go take some camps, get the crab, do some counter jungling. Yeah, this is good. Do the red as well. Or you can go ahead and just try and end with TP. So, as you wish, really. Can I get in that E, please, Senna? Sad pony. Orianna really is using the lead you gave her, though. Cash in pocket, 1500. I mean, I don't like this play. I prefer doing the red into the Krugs. Like, I would have personally done red, Krugs, catch the wave, shove the wave. There's more local gold, and there's tier 2 now as well. Team, join me. We've got mid and hip down. Someone can push it up, like Orianna can TP push it up and then join us. And then we can maybe win a fight and end, or we can win a fight and go Baron, or we can just go Baron. Like, a lot of options. But I think that would have been a better play. Feels bad, man. Alright, Lemon, let's go. We need to get involved. There's a big fight going on. Malphite goes in, and we're looking at this thinking, yes, here I come. Heals very, very well. Like, you see how he turns back in these fights all the time? There we go. See, this one you definitely want to rotate to. You don't want to be split pushing by yourself here. Gwen is immune, but we save her ult, and we just get the juicy R. And I think from this we can end. Caitlyn's bottom lane, a little bit upset, I think, at the state of this game, but again, wonderful game overall. High damage with the Orianna, even if he didn't match her KP necessarily. 236 CS, Flame Horizon, the enemy jungler. He does this no matter the meta, no matter the build paths, and hopefully, because this was a more classic game, like there wasn't cheese involved, you could learn a lot about a replicable playstyle that you could use in your own games. Thank you very much for watching. Virkayu GG as always, and I will see you all in the next one.